Okay.
I don't want to brag here, folks, but I bathed today. Again, if you're a parent, you're like, ooh, look at you. Did you shower? Sure did. Sure did.
That's because your husband is home. And
Husband is home, which means I can bathe like a person. Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous of my hygiene. I know, right? How is this week, July? Can you tell me that?
well,
Because
it
I
just
am baffled.
well, it just is, and there's nothing we can do about it.
How? But how?
It just is.
I can't. I really can't. One of the most important people in our lives will be having a baby on July 10th. And the other day, yeah, exactly, Kim. I bathed like a person. It was exciting, okay? When you have a little kid, I also got to shower by myself because otherwise Daisy sits in the bathroom with me because she's a Velcro child and does not like to leave me. So the fact that I got to bathe and also, hang on a second, I got to bathe and do it without someone sitting there. Thrilling. Just thrilling. But hang on one second.
Your perspective changes, sometimes dramatically,
It sure does.
when you become a parent, as when you become a grandparent.
Yeah. Yeah, that. Well, the main thing with you being a grandparent is that Daisy's obsessed with you and does not like to leave your side for any reason whatsoever. So I think that might be, yeah, if you tell Daisy no grandpa, prepare to fight to the death. She's not happy. You guys, my parents have been trying to go out a little bit more, see their friends, have dinner with friends and stuff like that. And when they do, or even go see movies, you've been seeing more movies lately. Daisy is absolutely livid. And it just makes me laugh because she's like, no, I want my grandpa to myself. And who are we to argue? I say, Mr. Maltin.
No,
everybody
nor
else.
would I even attempt to do so.
No, if you have a kid that's obsessed with you, just take that and run with it. Hello, dogs.
Yes, I just read, Kevin, that Barnes & Noble is recommitting itself to selling Blu-rays and DVDs and featuring the Criterion Collection in particular. I didn't know they were having a sale this month, though.
That's nice. Yeah, there's a lot because it's about to be July 4th. It means you're getting all of those sales because nothing says America
like a mattress bought on sale.
Like a mattress bought on sale during July 4th.
Right.
It is funny, isn't it? Just all of this stuff.
By the way, hello.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. So a little bit before we were going to do this, Josh Clement was texting me and he said that Inside Out 2 has just crossed the $1 billion mark. Now, here's the thing. I don't understand why the industry doesn't understand this. Like, I don't get it. People want to go to a movie and be entertained. That's part one. But also, they don't want what they watch to be stupid. Because that's the real key in here. Because it's not just that people want escapism, which I very much think they do. They want escapism. Who doesn't want escapism right now? You know? It's not just escapism, though. They want something that is not stupid. And, you know, because I was thinking about the different stuff that's come out, you know, and here they are, they're redoing Twister and they did Roadhouse for a reason no one can explain. It's just also, that too, not stupidity, but also not repetition, definitely. Well, you know, you don't really see rom-coms doing as well as they used to. And I think because a lot of the rom-coms are dumb. Like they're not, again, part of the joy. We all know what we're getting when you walk into a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
That's part of the agreement, you know?
Yeah.
But the idea is that you have to actually like the people you're watching on screen and you have to enjoy the banter. You have to enjoy all of that. And that's what makes it fun. Otherwise, why are we there? But
there's a brand new on Netflix with Nicole Kidman.
Yep. And Zac Efron and Joey King.
And she said she's been dying to do a romantic comedy,
Yeah.
waiting for somebody to, give her a script that she thought was good.
Yeah. I haven't watched it. It looks cute. Like, again, it looks exactly like what you would like to have. It looks like something easy. Saying that.
But in terms of repetition, though, children love repetition.
Yeah. Well, kids will watch something over and over and over.
Well,
and
yeah.
over again.
So Despicable Me 4
Yep.
is no throwaway for them.
Yeah.
It's more Minions,
But that's the thing. It's not throwaway. It's smart. It's smart to give people what they want from you. Because even though some people may say, oh, they're doing Despicable Me 4, you go, well, they are fun. Again, this is not cinematic, masterpiece coming at you. But if you want to see something fun where you can enjoy yourself, I mean, to be honest with you, if I was able to go to the theater more, I'd probably see it in a theater, just to have a good time. I'd probably go see it in a theater. Say just because it's nice.
Oh, Doug, thank you for the shout out.
Did you? I didn't know you were on air. Did you see it yet?
I didn't know there was any glimpse of me.
Doug says I did catch 1 second view of Mr. Maltin at the AFI Nicole Kidman event. We were just talking about this because you have been going to the AFI since the 80s.
Yes.
This event since the 80s.
1983 to be exact.
Yeah.
It was Lillian Gish being honored that night.
Which is wild. But...
And a friend of ours, all right, I'll tell the story. A friend of ours who had gone from the Midwest, he'd come every year.
Yeah.
Flew himself out here to attend. And he said, listen, it's in the Beverly Hilton Ballroom, which is a series of concentric half circles. So the most important people are in the front of the house.
Yeah.
And they can't get out easily or quickly.
Yeah.
So when it's over, don't leave. Hang around, because then as the crowd thins and they start to, exit, you can go and say hello.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Caine locked eyes with your mother, and that made her year. So she had a moment with a fleeting moment with Michael Caine. And
we also have a phenomenal picture of Alice, Leonard, Oprah, and Stedman.
That's from later.
Still one of the best photos that I have of my parents. Go on.
It's a great shot. And over to the side, I saw Mr. and Mrs. Fred Astaire. And you may recall that Fred Astaire in later life married a jockey named Robin Smith. And so they were standing together waiting for the crowd to thin out. And I went over and said hello and introduced myself and started making what I can only call small talk with Mr. Astaire.
With Fred Astaire.
And after a couple of minutes, he was very pleasant. After a couple of minutes, he said, your face looks kind of familiar to me. And she jabbed him in the ribs and said, oh, Fred, that's Leonard Maltin. We watch him all the time on Entertainment Tonight.
Ah!
Yeah.
It's a good day.
It's the only appropriate response.
It's a good day. It's a good day. Ryan, where are you seeing a Mickey Mouse film reel? That's why I was turning around. Ryan says he can see a Mickey Mouse film reel behind us that wasn't there before, and I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm wondering, is it this little thing? Is it this guy? Is that new? I think it's been sitting here.
Yeah.
Is this what you mean?
Yeah.
This little thing? I think it's been here. It's probably just depends
This
on
is
the angle you see us at.
This is an 8mm release.
Yeah.
They did 8mm and 16mm. It was before Super 8mm. Releases a little company called Hollywood Film Exchange. Subject for further research. How did this little company, I presume it was a little company, get the rights from Walt Disney to release excerpted versions of his cartoons for home use?
Victoria says the 50th anniversary special made me cry. Great tributes and stars. I miss Carrie Fisher. Oh God. Well, again, it's in our industry, there are only a handful of things that are consistent, in the sense of there are very few events that have gone on for a really long time, and few events that have meaning to people, real meaning. And I think AFI, because it has existed as long as it has, and because of the work that it does year round, people are grateful. But also everybody turns out.
Yeah.
And so you sort of have a this is your life moment where you've got beginning of career
to George Lucas evening started out with a production number that they did not show on that special. I came in a little late. I don't know. They may have shown it, but the evening opened with William Shatner coming out.
Yeah.
And sort of pretending he thought it was the Star Trek creator that they were honoring that night, not Star Wars. And then a troop of a bunch of stormtroopers came out, and it turned out it was a song and dance number, and it was just hilarious, unexpected, original, and hilarious, beyond description. And then they did show Carrie Fisher's speech, which was uproariously funny. And they also showed another of my favorite moments over all these decades, Elaine May's speech on the Mike Nichols tribute. There's a new book out on Elaine May, which I tend to read. But if you didn't know who she was, you didn't know very much about her, that speech tells you a lot about her. She was Mike Nichols' performing partner in Chicago and his lifelong collaborator. She wrote the screenplays for several of his films and punched up others that she didn't get credit for. But she wrote the screenplay for your favorite, The Birdcage. And she gave a speech that night that was it just put everybody away.
Isn't
and I'm so
wild?
Glad they used that in the special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and just to go back to Carrie Fisher for a second, not everybody is aware of the fact that she was a writer, but also specifically the kind of writer that they bring in to
like
punch
Elaine
up
May,
scripts.
A script doctor.
Yeah. They call them script doctors. And quite literally, it's when they go, all right, I think this is good, but we need more, or we just need more jokes. We need better and more jokes.
Yes.
And they give it to somebody like that for a whole lot of money. And they are the ones. And sometimes they get credit and sometimes they don't.
Yeah. A lot of them don't want credit.
A lot of them don't want credit. They just want their money. And
they get paid a lot of money because they get to work quickly.
Yeah. That's the whole thing.
They don't have a deep emotional attachment to the project.
Yeah.
It's a job of work.
Go through, write some jokes, get out.
Yeah. So that's what Alexander Payne and Jim Taylor did for Jurassic Park 3.
Right. Yeah. Isn't that wild? It's just, it's crazy, sort of the things that you wouldn't know unless you knew. I think everybody knows Carrie Fisher was funny. She was always very funny. But I learned that not a lot of people were familiar with the fact that she did this. Hello, Leonard. I believe you wrote an article about Charles Brackett's diaries a few years ago. Do you know what his relationship with Wilder was like after their breakup?
It's a very good question. I wish I had an answer for your very good question. I don't. I don't actually. Publicly, he was always very respectful. That much I know. He never sold him short as his partner, as his writing partner for that amount of time, over a decade.
Wow. Hey, Jesse and Leonard. Hi. Yesterday, I attended a D23 event celebrating the 60th anniversary of Mary Poppins, and it was amazing to see the film outdoors in Griffith Park near the merry-go-round. Yes, I had a lot of friends who went and posted pictures, and it looked like a blast. And thankfully, it has been cooling down. It's been really hot here, and thankfully, it has been cooling down enough at night that I'm sure it was beautiful. I'm sure it was a wonderful way to watch it. I've started showing Daisy some of the songs, some of the numbers from Mary Poppins, and it's interesting to see which one she sort of gets into. But what amazes me to this day is just they don't age. First of all, the effects, I think, are still really good. Like, all things considered, it still looks good. Like, it's not the kind of thing where you have to explain it to a kid. Yeah. It looks like it's happening.
Yeah.
And even walking
up the smoky staircase is
still... Oh, yeah. But also when Dick Van Dyke does his penguin dance, which is one of the greatest things ever filmed in the history of life, it still works.
Sure.
And it's so much fun. And again, it's amazing how when something is done well, it just holds up beautifully.
Tea with Uncle Albert.
Oh, yeah. No, again, truly, all of it. It really does. It works. And yeah. Oh, thank you. Ryan says he likes the episode of the podcast to do with Karen Dotrice, and we did one with Richard Sherman, of course. Well, Karen married one of my dad's really good friends a billion years ago now. And so that's just a funny tidbit that's part of why she's in our life is because she married a pal of my dad's. But Karen is wonderful. She's so much fun, and she has so much knowledge and so much history because of her whole family being in the industry. But she also, and I think because she was raised around the people she was raised around, understands what fans want from her. You know, when people ask about the movies she made, she's never going to tell them. There wasn't a lot of bad stuff anyway,
Right.
but
She's
she's
not
never
gonna
going to
dish
tell
dirt.
it because it's just not, she said that's not what they want, and that's not what she wants to do. She doesn't want to sit there and go, actually, as I say, there's not a ton of dirt to be found anyway, but it's just little things.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people ask about, is his name Michael? His character is Michael, the little boy.
Matthew
Thank you.
Garber.
You know, they always want to ask her questions about him, and she just says, no, we had a great time. You know, she'll never complain. She'll never do that. And I think it's a beautiful choice to make. Again, it's not lying. It's not fibbing. It's just helping people keep something special.
Yeah.
Special.
Yeah.
Without going, well, you know, this person, this, and that person, that, because why would, you know, as I say, I think that it's a really beautiful way to go about things, is to make sure that you're keeping that magic alive. Michael says, do you have a favorite bracket film without Wilder?
That would take a little cogitation, which I'm not up to right this minute. But I'll think about it.
Low on cogitation. Leonard Maltin, low on cogitation. We have a project I can't talk about that may or may not exist, but I want to bring up that what it sort of forced us to do. Trying to think of what movies you would want to show young people / families. And it's been really interesting because I've asked everyone. I've asked all of our friends. I said to people, what for you, you know, what did you grow up with? What did someone show you for the first time? Do you remember it? Even today, I was asking my parents about if they remember when things stopped being black and white. Because obviously for a time there was both. My mom was born in 1943. You're born 1950. So, you know, everything was in transition really for both of you.
Yeah.
You know,
Some films are in black and white and some films were in color.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't affect what I thought of the films. I love Jerry Lewis. Most of his solo films were black and white until he made The Ladies' Man in color, and then he never went back. And pretty much by the early to mid 60s, color was dominating. Yeah.
As I say, it's just one of those things. Now, when people choose to do black and white, it is a choice.
Yeah.
And there's a fuss made over it that they chose to do it. And so I was just thinking that again, it's one of those things. You exactly can. Wait, there are color films now? So I always used to joke that in my family, I didn't know films came in color till I was 12. But it's little things like that. And your history and sharing your history. Well, what was it like when you were a little kid and you saw your first movie in color in a theater? If you're someone who grew up when it wasn't color initially, what was that like? And how would you sort of explain? I mean, that's part of what's amazing with The Wizard of Oz is that reveal remains a gorgeous reveal.
Yep.
Even though we live with black and white and color, we see all of this. When that big reveal happens, you still sort of go, wow.
Yeah.
And even today, we were upstairs this morning, as we often are. The mornings, again, Daisy goes right for Grandma and Grandpa. If I try to stop her, she gets violent. So we usually spend our mornings, everybody piled into their room. And you had TCM on, as you always do.
As we do.
And a movie was playing The Opposite Sex. And I was staring at it because the colors are wild.
Yeah. Garish color.
You can tell when you can almost tell when something was made without looking it up just by going, oh, they were like, more colors. Whatever, put more colors in there. And you can really see it, that they were just going, all right, if we're going to have color, you're getting the entire spectrum times 12. Yeah, I'm waiting for this talkie craze to peter out. Thank you, Sean. Well, again, that too, just imagine if you're showing someone something for the first time, what are they seeing? What's the reaction?
Yeah.
You know, and I also,
it's hard to go back. It's hard to,
of course, yeah.
It's hard to actually set your mind in a different time frame. I mean, we all have our memories. Some are sharper than others.
Yeah.
But, you know, to think about, was that the first time I saw so-and-so? You know, that's hard to do.
And I mean, it's, again, I think to me, the best way you can show anything to your family is with very little explanation.
Yeah.
I think that kind of the less you do, the better.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, that's one of the marvels of the Little Rascals, our gang comedies, is that you don't really need to say anything.
No.
I mean, the one that I show most often to my class is
which we love.
Framing Youth. It's one of the one-reelers.
Yeah.
From the 1937 period. It's snappy. It has all the key characters.
Yeah.
Spanky, Alfalfa, Darla, Buckwheat, Porky, and Butch.
Yeah.
And
it's very funny and it's very cute.
Did I say Porky? Yeah.
You did.
Okay. And it's got a beginning, a middle, and an end.
It's like really, 7 minutes long.
Yeah, 9.
No, sorry, it's 9. Sorry.
And you understand who they are.
Yeah.
Right away. I mean, it's all set up for you.
Yeah.
It's kind of a perfect little film.
Yeah.
You wouldn't change a shot. You wouldn't change an edit.
No. And that's the thing, is outside of, like, I wouldn't yet show a very like a young kid a silent film that has cards, just because they can't read yet. And I think that part of understanding silent films is being able to read. I know that's an obvious statement, but I mean, like, to a little kid, I think just reading it out loud would not necessarily have the same effect as them being able to read what's going on. But the thing is, again, like, you just put something in front of them, and the only real explanation, if anything, could just be, yeah, this one's in black and white. The end.
But they don't talk in this one.
Yeah, they don't talk in this one. Okay. Kids really, like with anything, kids really only react to what you teach them to react to.
Yeah.
So for me, we just grew up sort of watching everything.
By the way, we weren't actually watching the opposite sex. We weren't actively watching.
No. It was just on.
It was on.
It was just there.
Wallpaper.
Yeah, it was there.
Which is the best way, I think, to ingest that movie.
Yes.
Although Charlotte Greenwood was a great choice for the part originally played by Marjorie Main in the 1939 movie, The Women. That's good casting.
And that's why you is you. I just want to go back for a second, because Ryan brought up that he remembered that we knew Peter Ellenshaw. Just to go back to Mary Poppins for a second. We were really lucky to know Peter Ellenshaw.
Yes, we were.
And I will tell you, if you're not familiar, he did these incredible paintings that served as the backdrop. So if we're talking specifically about Mary Poppins, when you think you're looking out onto London, you're actually looking at a painting, and it's a painting that he painted.
Painted on glass.
Painted on glass with little, and depending, because sometimes when it was an actual, they would just poke holes. That was the other method, would have light shining through.
Or leave very specific areas unpainted.
Yeah, so that you could see something coming through.
Yeah.
But what was incredible about him was not that he did those things. It was just the way that he was, which was incredibly goofy. Like, he was very funny with me, especially with me as a kid. Like, he was really silly with me.
He was totally unpretentious,
warm. I think the memory we both have that terrified us was being in his painting room, his studio, and he said, "Why don't you go?" He gave us a paintbrush. He had you do it first, and then me.
He had a painting on his easel. He was in the midst of painting a piece and was fairly far along.
And he goes, "Here, why don't you do some of the flowers? You're just going to take this purple and tap, tap, tap." So he had my dad do it and then me do it, and both of us are going, "Ah, ah."
Said if it's no good, we'll paint over
yeah,
it.
it's no problem. Just go for it. That kind of a mentality where it's fun and it's meant to be fun. But he was really playful. As I say, it's just again, and meeting him, especially because I met him when I was a kid, he was just a lot of fun. I also he had an elevator in his house, which again to a kid is like the greatest thing in the entire world. And he had a small lap pool that had electric. It's one of those things where you are basically swimming in place, but the water makes it feel. And we came in one day, he was doing it. I don't know if you remember this.
No, I don't.
He was doing it. And I was just like, this man is 1,000 years old and he's doing that. And then he's having us paint on it. Yeah. He was absolutely incredible. And I am so grateful that we got to know him a bit. And his son, Harrison, does a really beautiful job, I think, with his memory. We're very lucky. We have 2 or 3 of his paintings.
2.
No, the big one.
Yeah, the big one.
I thought with that, no, aren't there 3?
No.
Because there's the oceany one.
Yeah.
Now I thought there was another one, another small.
They call it seascape.
Garden. Oceany. Look, I'm not a pretentious person myself. Oceany. Yeah, I guess it's the big guy and the little guy. I always thought there were more. Anyway.
Well, while we're doing a little walk down memory lane.
Dang it. Did Ellen Shaw also do the matte paintings for the Love Bug?
Yeah.
I would say probably.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Probably.
He did 102 paintings for Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
And the thing that you have to consider is that not only that they never set foot outdoors in that movie. There's not one exterior shot in that movie. But that every time they did, it was an Ellen Shaw painting. The Rooftops of London, et al.
No, oh man. And that's, again, all of these people, if I could say one thing that every one of them has in common is there's so much joy in what they do. There's joy in it. And, something that my mom and I talk about sometimes watching current, like, let's say an artist, someone who sings, dances, all the rest of it. We don't like watching someone who's showing us how hard they're working. I don't want to see somebody huffing and puffing and doing like, see how good I am, see how great I am. Because when you grow up watching kind of the best who make it look effortless. Now it's what you're allowed to sweat. You're allowed to work and to enjoy yourself. I think that's really important. But there's just, if you've got that talent, you don't have to tell anybody, they can see it.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of, again, being raised around the people that I was very lucky enough to be raised around, they never made it look hard, even though what they were doing was not easy in any way. But they loved it and they perfected it. And then, a few people are mentioning we lost Martin Mull and we lost Bill Cobbs. Bill Cobbs, who I now know, also was born June 16th. So another June 16th birthday to share. But yeah, Martin Mull.
I was starting to tell you, I have his first comedy album.
Yes.
Called Martin Mull and His Fabulous Furniture. And the first time I met him, just a quick conversation, I said how much I admired him for having the guts to start a comedy record album with a sight gag. And the sight gag is he's introduced by Billy Barty, who says, and now someone I've always looked up to, Martin Mull. What's to say, huh?
It's funny. It's still funny.
Still. As watching him and Fred Willard together.
Man. And again, the thing I was saying to my mom that does fascinate me is, careers. I always say careers are an incredible thing, especially because if you're lucky enough to work through different decades, people know you for different things.
Yeah, Bill Cobbs is being perfect example.
Yeah, Bill Cobbs too, so much.
I mean, to younger people, you'd say he's one of the night watchmen in The Night at the Museum.
Yeah, that's true.
Mickey Rooney.
That's true. But so a lot of people my age, Martin Mull was in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which I was saying to you guys, is so funny because it was not a great role. He was playing this sort of nebbishy character that didn't show his incredible comedy chops, But he was good. He was fine. And so just visually, anybody my age goes, oh yeah, I remember you from Sabrina. But how funny to have different people, relate in different ways. And it's so significant.
Oh, this is the first time hearing about Howard Beckerman.
Beckman?
It's Beckerman.
Beckerman. There you go.
I'm very sorry to hear that he passed in New York. Howard was an animator, lifelong animator, and a longtime teacher of animation and animation history, and a good guy who I haven't seen or talked to in a long, long time. But when I was coming up in New York, he was an important figure in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of Luck was my go-to film when I went to my great aunt's house. She had a VHS. I loved it. First of all, VHS till the day I die, because I love it deeply. Jerry did a tribute. Jerry did a tribute to him on Facebook, which makes sense.
I've not yet seen Me Too cartoons because it is not carried on any of our cable or satellite channels here
Is it not?
in Los Angeles. Not yet.
Because I thought I saw.
The important word is yet.
I thought I saw.
And Jerry Beck, my pal, who was working for Me Too cartoons, writing the interstitial, did you knows, and all that kind of stuff, gave me 2 sites that I could go to that would, if I had the brains of how to attach an antenna, that's the easiest way to see Me Too cartoons. Over the air. There was such a thing as TV before satellites and cables. Yes, it's called over the air.
So funny.
But the 2 places he sent me, one's called Friendly and the other's called
not friendly. Saw that coming.
I'm ready to log in, and then there's the box I have to check that says they can sell my information to anybody.
That's my favorite kind.
And I've signed those things before without thinking, but now I'm thinking, I don't think I really want to do that.
You're saying Me Too. It's Me TV Tune.
Yeah, Me TV Tune.
Yeah, Me TV Tune. Looking to see if anybody has more answers about when it's going to.
Yeah, that's Friendly TV, Jonathan. It's the one that I tried to sign up for.
Yeah.
And could have.
Yeah.
Had I been willing to bare my soul.
Yeah.
and my bank account.
To everyone.
Yeah.
The other thing I want.
And Philo was the other one.
Yeah.
Karen.
Last night or 2 nights ago, I tend to, when I'm with Daisy, I'll just sort of rewatch. I'll put a series or a sitcom on or something that I've watched a bunch just because I like having it on and I want something on. So sometimes it's that medical show New Amsterdam or something. There's a really terrible but entertaining series called Rain that is loosely about Mary, Queen of Scots. And it's from a few years ago. And I'll put that on sometimes. It's fine. But I saw that because I watched that, it was suggested to me that I watch My Lady Jane, which is a new show. And I have to tell you, I said this to my dad, I do not know how to explain to people that sarcasm is not funny on its own and it's not clever on its own. And being sarcastic and or cursing a lot does not actually make something clever. So many movies use curse words to sound edgy, to sound clever. It doesn't. It really doesn't. It just sounds like you forgot the rest of your script. When they did that, what was it called? It's the one that, hang on, I'm going to look it up. Going to look it up. I just find this more and more, and I go nuts when it just becomes F-bombs, F-bombs, F-bombs. I like cursing as much as the next person, but it's just in these movies where that is, I guess, again, that's their version of saying, aren't we cool? Aren't we clever? Well, with My Lady Jane, it's supposed to take place in whatever, 1500, 1600 something. And their way of being edgy and current is they've got a narrator who sounds like a jackass, and then they have a bunch of cursing. Isn't it funny how these people who are supposed to be like hundreds of years old are cursing, you guys? That is so, that's clever. That's something different. That's edgy. I bet you didn't see that coming. I bet you didn't see that edginess. And it makes me crazy. Because I just feel like it's the laziest thing you can do. And to me, it just tells me that you don't actually know what clever is. Oh, yes, sorry. Ken's just mentioning, I'm going to mention this for a second. There's a fake Leonard Maltin, but the person has put no effort into it. It's just like there's a little L. It says Leonard and he's commenting on stuff. I keep reporting it. You guys can report it too. It's very clearly not real. The person doesn't have a photo or anything else. So just remove it. Yeah, Josh, exactly. The Great. I really liked that series, The Great, with Nicholas Hoult and Elle Fanning. But at a certain point, all they were doing was cursing or being really crude, like really crude. And I just, again, it's like, this was actually good. I liked this show. And then this is what you were leaning on this like a crutch. What I found, I don't know if you guys remember this, but a few years ago, I did something called New Voices, where we had people submit movie reviews to us and we posted them on the website. And it could be anybody.
We want to give an opportunity to aspiring film critics
to
have an outlet.
Yeah.
Have a place they could, they could write and they could be read and seen, and where they could have a professional type experience of getting feedback from, people other than your family.
Yeah. Being edited. That was the other big thing. A lot of people have never been edited before. And what I found 9 times out of 10 is when I would receive a review from someone, they thought that being rude/sarcastic was the same thing as being clever and witty. And I would have to go back in and say, I know what you want to do here. I understand what you're trying to do here, but it's not coming off the way you want it to. It is just sounding like you're rude and like you don't care, which is not what you want to, convey. Yeah. That's not what you're trying to say. If you want to say, I sat there and I really wanted to like it, and then it was just crap and it stayed crap, you can do that. But going, I can't believe I have to sit here and watch, it's just like, meh. So the movie, I looked it up, is The Kingsman. I really liked the first one. It's not great, but I liked the first one.
Too crude for my taste.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the thing. The first one was okay. The second one was nothing but cursing.
Oh, and other crude.
But it's just like, it's just not the same thing. And I really want to explain this to people because it scares me that this is what people think is good. Yeah. I'm not going to read that, Evanir, but I'm with you. It's just, it depresses me because I just think, like, come on, I know too many smart and clever people who can write for this kind of writing to be getting made, and it's just a crutch. It's like, so you have nothing better than that. That to me doesn't seem like you've put in a whole lot of effort. Mm-hmm. Again, there's tons of movies that are this example and shows too. But yeah, I was genuinely disappointing. I had it on, and I think I made it like 5 minutes, and then I just went, no, thank you. Yeah, well, no. See, the thing is this. Again, I curse like a sailor in regular life. If you know me, I really love cursing. It's one of my favorite things to do. It has actually been scientifically proven that it makes you happier because it releases endorphins. This is science. Ken is saying the bear has so much swearing, but it does reflect their lifestyle. That's the thing. It's one thing if it feels like it's natural.
It feels authentic.
Again, obviously you're dealing with, like, let's take a stereotypical character, right? A New Yorker. Take like an angry New Yorker. Some people mention a show like The Sopranos, exactly, or Sopranos is how they said it. That's a show where there's a lot of cursing with purpose, with reason. They're meant to be these, stereotypical Italian tough guys where cursing is a part of how they speak. So that's fine. I have no problem with the act. I have no problem with cursing or with being crude if it's funny, if there's more to it than that. My problem is when that's all you've got. All you've got is this, and you've left everything else because you thought, no, this is the horse. This is the horse I'm betting on. I'm going to stick with this no matter what. It's just ridiculous.
All right. Under the heading of what's new, we posted 2 more new movie reviews. Off the beaten path films, not major studio films. So these ones that, and some are on VOD. Pardon me, little frog in there. Some are already on VOD, and some are high priced on demand at home, but eventually will be available to you. One of them is called Fallout, Hollywood Fallout: The Conqueror. Am I getting it right?
I don't remember. I don't remember the order. I think you got it right, though. Let's look at leonardmaltin.com and then I'll tell you. The Conqueror, Hollywood Fallout. It's the other way around.
Hollywood Fallout.
The Conqueror, Hollywood Fallout.
If you don't know the underlying story, it's a simple one, not a happy one, but a simple one. In 1956, Howard Hughes bankrolled a film about Genghis Khan, decided John Wayne should star in it. Now, we can't go into that now. John Wayne is Genghis Khan? Anyway, and Susan Hayward as his prized wench, whatever.
His prized wench.
And Dick Powell, who had started producing and directing, was chosen by Mr. Hughes to direct the film. So they went to St. George, Utah, which was in the path of the testing grounds for atomic testing all through the 50s.
What's a little nuclear energy among friends,
And a remarkable number of the vast crew and cast of that film died of cancer, various forms of cancer in the years ahead. And it's not just them, but the people who lived there, and they were not right next door to the site, but the winds were blowing constantly in their direction. So it's not just about this Hollywood movie that had this, unfortunate aftermath. It's about the aftermath of the community. And it's a really good piece of work and very compelling and entertaining and interesting. John Wayne's son, Patrick, Susan Hayward and Jess Barker's son is on camera. They interview good people and a lot of just ordinary folks, citizens who've had dreadful experiences. Well worth seeing.
The other one is Daddy-O.
Daddy-O. I really like Daddy-O. My wife did not, but I did. And my friend Todd McCarthy is the first one who touted me on it when it was shown at Telluride. It's a 2-character piece with Sean Penn as a longtime New York cab driver of a yellow cab who picks up a passenger at the airport, JFK. And the passenger is played by Dakota Johnson. And they are the movie. They're back and forth, their conversation. There's a bad accident, so traffic is slowed to a standstill on their route into Manhattan where they're going. So he seizes the opportunity to start a conversation. And he's one of these quintessential New York cab drivers that you don't really see much anymore in movies or anywhere else, who likes to think he can read people. Anybody who gets in his cab, he can size them up. And that's the premise of the film. And I liked it. And I love Sean Penn. And I'm becoming a real fan of Dakota Johnson.
I like her. I do like her.
She's really good, and she's very good in this film, which he also co-executive produced.
There you go. Have you seen Ghostlight? Yes, he has.
Ghostlight is terrific. Ghostlight, for sure. If you haven't seen it, it started at Sundance, so it's had a
couple of months.
Yeah, more than a couple of months now. It was at South by as well.
Yeah.
And so it's picked up admirers and fans along the way, month by month. But this past Friday, it went wider and is more readily available. And you won't have heard of any of the actors, but don't let that stop you, except for Dolly DeLeon, who made an impression last year or the year before in The Triangle of Sadness, Ruben Östlund's droll movie But she and everyone else in the film really, really good. Without reservation, I recommend that very highly.
You've also been watching a show. You and Mommy have been watching a show that's been out for, I guess, two or 3 years, something like that, called Pachinko.
No, they're about to post their second season the end of this month.
That's what I'm saying. It's been out for a little bit.
Pachinko. Didn't know anything about it. Got a press release, and then read something good. Somebody, a real person,
some human being somewhere.
Well, it's very good. It's very emotional. We felt drained at the end of episode 3, or was it 4? I think it was 3 that we watched the night before last. Couldn't watch another one. Triangle of Sadness, not Madness.
Though that would be a funnier one, actually, if you called it that. But yeah, you're both liking it, but it's tough. It's one of those good but tough. I asked you guys today, what's the best thing you've seen recently? Because I feel like there's, as always, there's a lot, but there's also nothing. And I don't know how simultaneously both things are true. Carlos mentioned Monsieur Spade, which stars Clive Owen, and it's the newest from the guy who created The Queen's Gambit. And you and Mommy did watch it, and neither of you liked it.
The key word for me is disappointing.
Yeah.
I found it disappointing, considering its pedigree. There are 2 creators.
Yeah.
Brain drain. Good pedigree, and I like him a lot, Clive Owen. But
Jenny is asking if you've seen Janet Planet. We plan to see it on Thursday. It's getting great reviews, but not a wide release. You know who really didn't like that movie? Alice Maltin. Leonard Maltin also did not really like that movie, but Alice Maltin really did not like that movie. We were just talking about it earlier.
Let me say, every now and then, a movie starts, and right away, and I mean right away, you have a visceral
you don't like it.
reaction to it. Like there's just something about it that just either rubbing you the wrong way or you feel completely out of step with it. And that's the reaction I had to this film, which has been getting mostly, not entirely, but mostly
84% from the critics on Rotten Tomato and 44% from the audience.
That's a big difference.
So that's, I mean, it's not beloved, let's say, which is interesting. But yeah.
I've always liked Julianne Nicholson. She's always good.
Yeah.
But, and she's fine in this film too.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I don't think either of you have seen Kinds of Kindness yet, have you?
No, we missed the screening we were supposed to go to.
Yeah. I know I have a lot of folks that are seeing it right now because it's getting posted like crazy, but no, we have not seen it. 1 second. Oh no. Someone did the thing where they described a movie and asked us to try to figure out what it was because they can't figure out what it is.
Oh, that's my Achilles heel. That is my big fat Achilles heel.
If you only knew how many emails we get that don't even have a hello. They just go, so there's a movie and there's people and they're running and
I think it was in black and white.
There's a dog. It might be in black and white.
The guy's in his pajamas.
Or maybe in color. There's people in it.
My brain just doesn't sort information that way. I've never been able to answer those questions. And I'm not proud of that.
In fairness to you, the questions tend to be absolutely ridiculous. In fairness, it's rare that it's like, oh, Gene Kelly was in it and it's blah, blah, blah. It's like there was a guy with a face and he had feet and you just go, I am really sorry, but I have not the faintest of clues what you're talking about. Nick saying, besides Taschen's Donald Duck book, are there any other upcoming Disney or animation related books that you're looking forward to?
Having just attended the Hyperion Historical Alliance conference 2 weeks ago, I know that there are several, more than a few in the works. Don't ask me what they are. I can't remember. But they all sound really interesting. And there are various Disney historians who are hard at work on books that will be of interest to you and me.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more.
JJ, my dad did not create the Leonard Maltin game. Other people created. There's two versions. There's one that Doug Benson plays that he calls the Leonard Maltin game. And then there's the one that was actually made into a board game. Neither one are created by Leonard. And he's not very good at either game because that is, and I'm like him. My brain doesn't work like that. It just doesn't sort things in that way. And so, no, we play the games, but we did not invent the games. I wonder what Jesse thought of Bogdanovich's Noises Off. I have only seen it in parts. To be honest with you, I've seen the show a few times live. They're bringing it up because we mentioned it last week.
Well,
I saw a production of Noises Off in Pasadena some years ago. One of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life, because the problem is if you don't get it right, if you don't get the timing right, the whole thing doesn't work. So because the production we saw in New York when I was younger was so fantastic, then seeing it done by people who keep missing the timing, and it's like, oh, this is just awkward. So
I think, English farce, like French farce, they're very specific. They're very specific in how they operate. And if you don't operate properly, you're sunk. You're absolutely sunk.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work on film by and large because it's the danger of seeing it live and knowing that something could go wrong in real life that gives it that edge. But Peter did, I think, a remarkably good job of translating that to film in his adaptation of Noises Off. He's come as close as anyone, I think, ever has to capturing that.
Well, it's hard because the whole point is that you have to have the closing doors. One person has to be coming and the other has to be leaving, and the doors have to shut at the exact same time. And you need that visual or it doesn't work. You need to see them missing each other or it doesn't work. The bag has to be there and then get moved. It's difficult. It's a difficult task. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. He says there's animal cruelty in Kinds of Kindness. I am very happy to know that. And I really appreciate your telling me. I will also tell my mother. Arthur's asking if we've met Eva Marie Saint, who's going to be 100. We have
on several occasions.
One of the most gorgeous human beings
and gracious,
like stunningly beautiful woman. Like to this day, stunningly beautiful, and has such that Hollywood, old school Hollywood grace. Like you just sort of stare at her and she's like a beautiful doll. And she could not be nicer.
I've been interviewed her individually and on panels.
Yeah.
And most recently at TCM 4 years ago or so, where in one day I talked to Rita Moreno, Eva Marie Saint, and I can't remember who the third veteran actress was, but they all were in better shape than I was.
Everybody. Well, that's what I always thought. Every time we'd see Kirk Douglas, the man was in a wheelchair and he was still doing better than all of us. Like he just blew me away. And that was...
And survived a stroke.
Yeah.
A major stroke.
Yeah. And something I just have to say about him, to have the guts to age on camera in general, to me, is it says a lot about you if you can do that, because I think that has got to be insanely difficult. Beyond that, after you've had something like a stroke where your voice is difficult to where it's difficult to understand you and all that, to still keep yourself in the public eye and allow people to see you like that and keep working and keep appearing. I just think that tells you so much about him, because a lot of people couldn't do that. I don't know if I'd have the nerve, it's hard enough. Look, I can tell you both my parents now need walking aids of some kind, whether it's a cane. My mom has a walker sometimes. My dad has a cane. Depending on how much walking there will be, sometimes we need wheelchairs, And we talk about it because it can be hard.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really want to be in a wheelchair. The first time years ago when we were at Comic-Con that my dad finally said to me, I think I need a wheelchair. I think it's too much. He said, but I feel funny because I want to keep saying hello to people. You know, folks want to come over and take pictures with him, which is great. And I said to him, I said, I know that it sucks and it's awkward, but I think that it's either this or we can't even go.
Yeah.
You know, so which do you choose? And the answer is he doesn't want to just be stuck at home. He wants to go and he wants to enjoy himself. So I was pushing him in a wheelchair and people were still coming up. And sometimes we had you stand to take a photo if that was easier, but people also just, you know, kneeled down and took photos that way. And, you know, again, I think that it's really hard to get over our own egos, just our own feelings as well.
Yeah.
You know,
But you're not getting rid of me that fast.
Exactly.
Is the basic message.
I keep saying though, I keep saying somebody's got to figure out like a sidecar to the wheelchair so I can push Daisy at the same time as I push one of my parents. Because the problem is I've now got a stroller and it's really hard to do stroller and wheelchair. So what I need is a wheelchair with a sidecar for Daisy. Somebody needs to figure this out. Really, I should be asking our friends who are Imagineers because somebody's going to know how. I need a wheelchair with a sidecar. Make it happen.
So speaking of collectibles.
And we are.
I don't know how well these will photograph.
See.
You try one. I'm going to try to get this lined up right.
Okay. So you want the face side first?
Yeah.
Okay. These are so light.
I know they're like made
they're
of
like air.
Tin.
Yeah. So the one I'm holding is Frederick March.
And the one I'm holding is Jean Harlow.
Hang on 1 second. Let me switch.
And they're very good likenesses.
Yeah.
Very, very good likeness.
On the back it says
and their relief. What these called repoussé.
Yeah. They're bumpy is the other way to describe that one. Paramount star in Design for Living.
That's for Frederick March.
And at the bottom it says popsicle.
Right. This one says, Jean Harlow, Metro Goldwyn Mayer star. You do it. You're better than I.
1 second. Let's see. Metro Goldwyn Mayer star. And then at the bottom it says popsicle again.
Now here's a variant.
They do look like they're meant to look like money.
Yeah.
They're supposed to look like money.
In these era of variant covers of magazines and comics and all that.
Yeah, Michelle's saying talk to Bob Gurr about the wheelchair with the sidecar. He could do it for
That's
real.
Right.
That is exactly who I
exactly the guy.
You are completely correct, and that is who I should ask.
Here's one with a gold wash.
I like that
Clark
one.
Gable.
So what were these? People are asking what these were used for.
Okay. There's Gable, and on the back it says Clark Gable, hold your man, I think.
No, it just says Warner Brothers star.
Oh, that's not Gable.
Oh no, this is Warren William.
Warren William.
There you go.
My favorite. Warren William. Okay. So I've had these for years. I found them on eBay. You can find them on eBay too. Marie Dressler.
You have more than one Frederick March.
Oh yeah. Irene Dunn. Johnny Weissmuller.
Here's Gary Cooper.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not the most advanced researcher using the internet nowadays, but two friends of mine are. And one of them found this, an electronic publication of the Numismatic Bibliomania Society. Numismatism is coin collecting. Bibliomania
books.
Is you love books. Well, this issue from 2018 identifies the artist as Adam Pietz, Pietz, for the series that came out in 1933. Here I have a medallion of Jean Harlow. I'm trying to get it to catch the light a little better.
It's heavy.
Yes, which is signed by Adam Peets.
Jean Harlow, 1932. Adam Peets. Say at the bottom. Sculptor. It's a sculptor at the bottom.
And that's a really nice.
It is. It's heavy.
Yes, it is. It's bronze.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that he
would then do the small ones.
Right. They say that there were others done by a man named Franz Uwe, spelled E-U-E. Claudette Colbert, Gary Cooper, Jean Harlow, Frederick March, Norma Shearer, Johnny Weissmuller. And that was supposedly 1937. Well, I beg to differ.
Here's Clark Gable.
Yeah, because all the films that they cite are from 1933. So they may have done a second set of these.
Here's Clark Gable.
Mm-hmm. So here's the deal, folks. I can find no mention of these from the time they were made. Nothing. I've done popsicle searches galore. And so has my two friends, James Curtis, the biographer and author.
Yeah.
And
so
Eric Kurland.
What do you search?
What do you got?
No, I'm saying like, so how
Coin,
do you describe?
Popsicle coin, popsicle token, popsicle, popsicle 1933, popsicle giveaway 1933, popsicle premium 1933. Nothing comes up. Jim Curtis came up with the rationale that they may have been a giveaway, an in-store promotion.
Okay.
That was not, so that's why there's no paper trail.
I can find them.
Oh yeah, you can find them online
yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
That's why I have quantities of them, because I have,
Hake's Auction has some right now. Oh no, it ended. Sorry, the bidding ended. But they had some.
How many did they?
Looked like they had a couple.
Yeah. Not hard to accumulate these.
Yeah. How interesting.
But the how, why, and wherefore, still a mystery.
Nobody knows. Do you have one of each?
Oh, yeah.
You have a Claudette Colbert. You
oh,
have
yeah.
All the, okay. All right. Very interesting.
So there's your research puzzle.
They're made of they're made of aluminum.
Right? Yeah, they're light as feather.
They're really light. Huh. Hold your man, unabridged. Comments. Popsicle tokens were issued as premiums in popsicle packages starting in 1933. Later in 1937, 6 were issued, and we know for certain these were engraved by German-American engraver Franz Uwe. These bore portraits of Claudette Colbert, Gary Cooper, Jean Harlow, Frederick March, Norma Shearer, and Johnny Weissmuller. He misspelled popsicle on the reverse of the Claudette Colbert medal as popsicle with a C, Popcicle. 3 of these are listed in the Red Book by Katie Yeager and Dave Bowers. That's what we can find. Well, so they came in popsicles. They came.
Well, yes, but here's the Claudette Colbert where popsicle is correctly spelled.
Mystery. Mystery. Yes, I did. I had my husband do one of the Google image searches, and you can't really find some stuff. Yes, that the James Curtis my dad's talking about is the author James Curtis. Yes.
Yep.
Yes, they gather together as nerds to nerd together to find things. Because why not? They really do, all of you. It's really funny when one is looking for something and they all just it's like a bat signal in the air. What would be your signal? I'm trying to think of what would be like for you guys. What would be the right signal that would pop up?
Well, I'm not going to give away the name of the group.
No, can't do that. But can't do that. Yeah, a nerdery. I like that.
I like that.
They are a nerdery. That's like, so there's like a gaggle of geese, things like that. I said to my husband, I go, what do we call wives? And he decided a nag of wives. So you have a nag of wives. But we have to figure, is it like a cluster of nerds? There must be a word. I don't know.
A closet of nerds.
A closet of nerds. A basement of nerds. It's a basement of nerds, a darkness of nerds. The glasses, that could, maybe put the glasses up, maybe that. Maybe like the Maltese Falcon in the air, something classic. I don't know. We have to think about this, guys. We have to think about what we would project to get everyone together. I don't know. So do you have I see you have an RKO one here, which is very nice.
Yeah, well, this needs cleaning.
Yeah. Carry this for good luck and good times. Radio.
I have many more. Next weekend, next Sunday. Are we here next Sunday?
I think so.
Well,
yes,
we'll
yeah,
show
we are.
more. We'll show more coins.
January RKO Good Times Jubilee. He's got a whole. He's got all kinds of things, my friends.
Yes, there are
all kinds
more.
of things.
I have a George Arliss coin.
Of course
I
you
have
do.
a Charles Lawton Captain Kidd coin.
Someone
I have
did
a Gloria
ask.
Swanson coin.
Somebody asked if you had 1 second. Where did it go?
I have a Zotz.
Yeah, the Zotz one. Do you have a Zotz coin from the William Castle film?
I do.
You do.
Indeed.
And here we are. Exactly, Nick. Look at all those coins. Boy, do we have coins. We have everything. I think what happened for you is that at a certain point you realized that small things were still an option. Like
my only option.
You know?
My only current option.
Yeah. So, you just keep collecting little bitties like this, and then nobody would even notice. Nobody would even notice that they're still creeping into the house.
Who would know?
But like that. Friends, as always, thank you so much for joining us. We love being with you. We had a new episode. I think we must have told you a new episode of the podcast last week with Mark Furstein, which we really enjoyed. And we're going to be recording a new one this week. Do you have a coin with a noted comedy team?
No, I do not.
So there we have no comedy team coin. We should be here next week. Yes, it's July something. We'll be here.
It's July 4th weekend.
Yes, kind of.
July
is July 4th the Thursday? It's Thursday. It's Thursday. There you go. So yes, we will be here this weekend. Everybody remember, don't blow your fingers off and be really careful with fireworks because nobody needs that. We want all of your fingers. We want you happy and healthy. So everybody take care, have a good time.
And be kind.
And that.